Well, Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1.
New Year was like 3 weeks ago, Jerry.
But we haven't seen the people since the New Year, Jim.
Numero uno.
Yeah, we are Trace Uno.
Trace uno.
Yes.
You know, speaking
like
of that,
logo
you know,
and
Jerry,
Coco.
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
I don't know if Nate has that picture screenshot I sent him.
Oh, my God. We're literally going to start the the first episode off with some picture
just
of
got a
me that you've
question.
decided you should put up there.
It's just a simple question, Jerry, and when we'll get to it here in a second. But
Just from Arizona or what?
Yes. Way to go, Jim. You broke the podcast already.
But yeah, just a simple question. A Facebook post you put on the other day during the Chiefs game, actually, Jerry,
During the Chiefs game.
where you were watching Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
If you'd have known that was on, you wouldn't have watched
If I
the
would have known
Chiefs.
that was on, I would have watched that instead of the Chiefs game.
But the key thing is was that a Christmas tree? In that
Yes,
picture?
Jackie has not taken the tree down yet. That's her job.
That's
She
her
puts it
job.
up, she takes it down.
So,
You know, there's
on-
like some sort of like old wives' tale about if you leave your tree up after Christmas a certain amount of days, it's like so many days or months of bad luck. Did you know that?
Jackie has how many years?
wife-
of that?
Yeah, Jackie
Yeah.
must never take a tree down then.
I'd have to ask my wife what it is, but she reminded me of that because when we got back, she's like, I got to take the tree down. I'm like,
So I had the tree up
I'm not gonna
before
do
we
it.
went to the banquet. And then her job is to decorate the tree. I do
Thanksgiving.
everything outside.
yeah.
And then, life got busy.
So you've had your Christmas tree up for over 2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when do you put so when do you put the tree up? You know, what's normal? We usually put ours up Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common.
About normal.
Yeah.
And then we take it down usually right about New Year's.
Yeah. That was the plan, but then life got busy.
It's not like the
Please say that was an
December
artificial
26th.
tree, Jerry.
Yeah, it's an
That wasn't
artificial. Yeah,
okay.
see that, and that's the other thing. I mean, for years, I'm a real tree guy, but for some reason, her mom decided we need.
I've heard you like your
artificial
green.
tree. Yeah, me too. But this one you can just leave up year round. You can have like a multi-festival tree.
You're not supposed to do that.
But what if you wanted an
Christmas
Easter
isn't
tree?
the same if
But
the
what if
tree
you
is
had an
up in
Easter
July.
tree
How long do you leave the Festivus pole up?
year round?
Year round for the Festivus pole?
Yes, for the Festivus.
Since it's still up, I mean, do you still turn the lights on? Or do you leave it? I mean,
No, the lights are still on.
You if you have the tree up, even if you have it up into February or March, you turn the lights on. You leave
They're
the lights
still on. Yes,
They're still on.
Yes, they're still on.
Elf
You
on
used
the
to have
Shelf
Christmas lights
still
up on
active?
your house?
Yeah,
Do you decorate outside?
yeah, I do. I got all decorated outside.
I don't think I saw that.
Stop by. They're on. Well, we lost
sure
a
they
deer.
are.
One of the deers fell over, and 3 foot of snow fell on top of it. So
I just didn't know if you were late or you had your tree set up early for next year.
both.
Both okay.
Do you take the outside lights down at all, or do you leave those up year round?
The ones on the house I do because you can change colors. So it's like people.
No.
So yes, you can have like.
Doesn't that take away from the effect
yeah,
when
you should
people
take
They're like
decorate for
accent
every
lights.
But
holiday?
that's, to me, outside lights are
Yeah.
different than the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree should be set up at a certain time and taken down at a certain time, and it's pretty easy to do that because it's inside, generally
Yeah.
speaking.
Well, I mean, if you have an inside tree, I think that's where it's at. is
Outside
inside.
lights is a whole different story because if it's icy or,
Or like
if
the
it's
way the weather's
snowing
been,
or if the
yeah.
weather's crap around Thanksgiving, I think it's about the same time frame. You put it up around Thanksgiving and you take it down after Christmas. But like around here, if it snows 2 feet, taking stuff down is a little bit problematic. Some shit gets buried.
Well, yeah, like
So I think
my
Brett's giving
ornaments.
he's giving you a pass on the outside lights, but he's
the outside lights, you can,
Little
you
bit.
can
He's
leave the
disappointed.
lights up year round,
He's
whether you turn
disappointed.
them on or not.
That just looks lazy.
It does.
It does, and they don't last if you leave them up. I've made that mistake. I'm like,
yeah?
I left my trees, my lights.
You
in
left
my
your
tree.
trees up. How many
left my
trees did you
lights-
have?
I left the lights in the tree, and then I came back the next year and plugged it in, and it didn't work. And then you've got this strand of trees around this giant.
Oh, your
evergreen
trees outside.
Yeah, it's evergreen tree outside.
Because the squirrels get in there.
Yeah, then you get into the wiring starts almost like dry rot. I just don't know how. You look at like those Christmas displays. There's a lot of really cool ones now all over the place. We went to one in Texas where you drive through and it's like 3 miles.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
of
We've got
Christmas
those too, yeah.
lights.
Right.
Like a lot of the racetracks do that. William Scoggin does that down at his racetrack in Tennessee. He sets up a Christmas display and you drive through
Yeah, you
the
drive
facility.
through, check it out. It's got
know, but
music and plays.
Some of those you go through, it's like, good Lord, do they take all this down? Or do they actually leave some of this stuff up?
What do they have, the display here in town that they had for years out here? They said it took them 2 months to 3 months to put all that up.
Well, that's like that when they used to
A lot
have
of work.
Make-A-Wish holiday, the holiday lights in Des Moines.
So-
I mean, they'd start like at Halloween putting that stuff up.
So Christmas is over. New Year's is over. We're on to 2024.
Yes.
Haven't had a podcast since what was like December 20th.
Christmas party.
Yeah, the Christmas
day.
party.
The Christmas party. The IMCA Christmas party. Yeah, December 20th is what I have. And a lot has happened since then.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had some racing.
Yeah, we've all been going different directions
We've
a
had
little bit.
snowstorms.
Jim had a heart attack.
Yes. He had the Widowmaker.
And the worst, he
had the
did.
top.
He did have the, yeah.
And he survived the worst part of it.
I told him he had
The heart
something-
attack itself. He's like, he calls me like, what was it, like the 26th, Jim?
Well, it was like that Thursday after.
He calls me, he's like, hey. I'm like, yeah, what's up? Yeah, I had a heart attack. I'm like,
No
what?
big deal, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you're alive, right? Obviously, you survived.
No, it was a record. He pre-recorded that for me.
Yeah, but I'm in the hospital. I'm gonna have to stay in here for a day.
Could you imagine how awful of a patient he had to be
Oh,
in the
my
hospital?
goodness.
Oh my!
He's like, get me out of here.
He doesn't
like,
want to
from
go
the
to his
moment.
cardiologist
yeah.
or his PT now.
Yeah, he's telling you to get him out of here. They're calling you. Would you
Oh,
get
wait,
this
thanks
son of
for
a
reminding
bitch
me
out of
because
here?
I'm supposed to be there now.
I'm like, yes. I'm like, so why are you talking to me? Is Laura there? And he's like, yeah, she's here with me. And I'm like, well, I need her number so I can communicate to her too. So, because at the time you hadn't even had your stents put in, right, Jim? When you called me,
Yeah, I don't think so. I think.
Was it a Thursday that you had that?
Yeah.
Because he called me Friday, and then he called me Saturday and was saying, I don't know what you were saying, but you had no memory of calling me. None. He's like, I called you yesterday. Yeah, you were going to get me an email or a phone number for some promoter who wants something, and then I never heard from you. So
I think I took a couple calls that night.
I could only imagine what calls you took.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
sanctioned a couple racetracks
we-
that you said you'd never sanction.
You see the videos at times of like people who get like their wisdom teeth pulled.
Oh, they
out
come out of
and
they come out of the
laughing gas,
sedation.
little Kids. I mean, I went through that with my youngest daughter, Kennedy. It was probably 3 weeks ago. She had a tooth pulled out and went a little through that. But Jim is kind of like that. Jim's like the guy that when he's in recovery, his natural instinct is to pick up his phone and call somebody.
Right.
I mean, because
Or
every
the
time,
answer.
Creature of habit.
every time he's been in this situation where he's been under anesthesia, he calls me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Well, I'm in recovery. I'm like, "Why are you calling me?" Just what's going on? I'm like,
going on?
"What's going on?"
I can imagine that call goes to somebody.
Don't you have other
Cinderella
shit to-
story. I said I had a heart attack. They tried to kill me.
Don't you have other shit to worry about right now, Jim? Oh yeah, I can't get out of here yet. Should be out of here in about an hour.
So apparently we can tell people now, right? That you have it.
Apparently we can tell people.
I won't forget that you sent the text out to all of us, all the staff, and I haven't told you this yet. I was standing in your living room or in your office that day when I got the text, and Brett said, "Don't tell anybody."
Well, Jim
So,
calls me.
so I didn't. I'm like, okay, yeah, I didn't. So I didn't tell you. I'm like, all right.
So Jim calls me. We're at Kokopah, and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" I go, "Stand in the infield. Where's your dumbass at?" I'm up here. I go, "Okay."
in the tower.
He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm in the tower." I said, "Well, driver's meeting's in 5 minutes." "Yeah, just let me know what happens." I go, "Are you okay?" And I said, "So did your flight get delayed?" No, I'm not going to be there." I go, "Bullshit." So where you at? "No, I'm at home. Really, I'm watching." I go, "Why?" "Well, I had a heart attack." I said, "Oh, really? Seriously?" He goes,
Pissed me off. They wouldn't let me go.
He goes, "There's a Widowmaker." And I said, "So you're still at home?" "Yeah." He goes, "My doctor said I can't go." And I said, when have you ever listened to anybody?
Yeah,
What'd you say? You were going to wait until Friday to go in?
he hadn't even canceled this. Yeah, he was gonna wait.
Yeah, he
And
was going to
Thursday, your doctor said, "What? No, you wouldn't have made it if you'd have waited till
Yeah. Friday wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. Friday, you wouldn't have."
But yeah, he told me, he says, "Yeah, his doctor says, he says, well, if I came in a couple days, 24 hours, you wouldn't even have been here."
So we're glad you survived, Jim.
Yeah.
It's a
And
serious.
I just want
it's
to
a
prove
se-
to people I
it's-
do have a heart now. I've got documentation.
But it's
I
a
do have
tough
a heart.
heart.
Yeah, it's kind of black.
It's kind of calloused, It takes a lot to hurt it.
No shit.
You can call it names and everything else, and it just keeps on going. But yeah, he called me, had a heart attack, and so then he's like, "Well, doctor says I can't go to Kokopah." I'm like, "Okay." We'll
Well,
get it figured
I
out.
was working on
He
it.
goes, what are we going to do? I'm like, we'll figure it out.
I figured
don't,
you were-
Don't
I
worry
figured-
about it. This is literally
They'll
like
race
in
without,
recovery. And he's talking about
Yeah.
this stuff. I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll get it figured out. You know, and then he's like, I'm going to get out tomorrow. I'm like, okay. Then the next day he calls. He's like, I got to stay another day. Like he's trapped.
Are you still in the hospital? Is that background there just kind of leading us on?
No, yeah,
He's in Maui
he's
now.
in the Maui rehab. He's in the Maui rehab facility.
He's safe to fly, so off he went straight to Maui.
That's right. Straight to Maui.
Why would he stick around here when it snowed like 2 feet in the last 2 weeks?
Oh,
or
my
something?
God.
It was
Not to mention it
crazy.
was-
He's watching that stuff when we were down.
24 below with a 50-degree wind, minus
nuts.
50 wind chill.
They said in
Yeah.
some areas it broke the 5-day snowfall record, 2 feet. I mean, they were like second and third
I think
highest
like
snowfalls ever.
in Des Moines last year, the winter snowfall was like 14.2 inches, and they got
was a week.
27.3 in 3 days.
Right.
Yeah. They said last night on the news that it was like the first day above freezing in this eastern Iowa part of the state, the first day above freezing since like January 8th or
That was
9th or
crazy.
something like
Crazy.
that. It's like 15 days of it below freezing.
I was
And
watching
it was bad. We had a couple of negative 20 nights. I came
Mm-hmm.
home. I had a cheer comp in Indianapolis, drove over there, came back, opened the door to my house, walked in. I'm like, man, my floor feels cold. Walked around to the furnace. It was 42 degrees in my house. It was negative 17 degrees outside. And I figured out that my LP had ran out of my house. It wasn't my fault. I'm not that dumb. It was not my fault.
Now, time out.
Whose
How-
fault was it?
Whose
How does-
fault was it?
I called my guy. I graduated with the guy who delivers my LP.
So you have a guy.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, Rich. And he's like, yeah, this is 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. I'm like, hey, Rich. I said, is it possible that my LP tank could be out of LP? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what? Did you really just say yes? He said it like confidently.
Yeah, it
He's
is.
like, yeah. He goes, well, I haven't delivered in a couple of months. We've got a new route driver. He's learning the routes. It's possible he missed it. I'm like, holy shit.
So did you get it? When did you get it?
This is 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. He's like, I'll try to get you emergency fill. And I thank God he did. He got it handled. But yeah, it was 42 degrees in my house when I got home. If I wouldn't have came home from the cheer comp, my wife stayed
frozen,
overnight.
burst pipes and
Yes.
everything.
I know some friends that happened. Their furnace went out. I mean, crashed on when they were out like on vacation and came back to 3 foot of water in their basement.
Wow.
Yeah, it would have been one of those
Ice.
deals.
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
feet of ice.
So I got lucky. But yeah, I hate cold weather. I'm getting so tired
It's
of
not
it.
fun. The older you
Especially-
get, the
Well,
harder
it was
is.
crazy because when I left Phoenix on Monday because of our flight delays, it was 52 and came home to negative
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
And they're probably running around Phoenix bundled up. They couldn't.
They actually were. I mean,
cold.
to be honest, it was probably about 15 to 17 degrees colder than it normally is down there at that time of the year. I mean, there was a lot of people bundled up, but it was still
30,
than
30,
here.
34, 35 degrees, what it was here yesterday. It's beautiful.
I was in shorts.
Don't even wear a coat.
Oh.
I was in shorts shoveling snow
Go
off
out
the
in a
deck.
t-shirt, get in the car. You don't have to start the car and warm it up. I mean, there's a big difference between negative
Oh, boy.
17 and 35.
Do the math.
I
How
was
many
in-
degrees is that?
A lot.
What difference?
Negative 17 to 34.
51.
There you go.
He's fat.
I was in
He's
Florida
numbers
over the
man.
weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And walking along a beach. It was 60 degrees, 65 degrees, and there was
Are you
a
in your banana hammock?
there was a woman.
You have a hammock on?
There was a woman in a winter coat
Bragger.
with her husband walking down the beach. It was 60 degrees.
Did
could
you
tell
bring
she was
your
local.
Christmas present to Florida with you? So if you got in the ocean,
Yeah. You take your floaty?
you could, you could straddle Jerry.
No, I did not do that.
So we've had a lot of racing too as well. We had the Winter Nationals, start to finish. That's all done now since our last podcast.
Yeah, and unlike last year, we finished with rain. We started with rain.
Yeah, it was a little rain.
You got all
down
8
there.
shows in though.
Yep, all 8 shows in.
All the
It did-
shows in.
It did rain that first night. Had to delay it a little bit, but
Yep, racing was good.
racing was
Car count was
Very
excellent.
good.
yeah, everything was
Car count
awesome.
was excellent.
A lot of positives can be drawn, obviously, out of some of those first races of the year, and you know, Yuma's for us a little bit of a soundboard. You know? And yeah, we had great car counts, good racing. You know, Dave was down there for the first few days.
Yes.
Jim missed it. You
Yeah.
know, obviously.
I,
Jim was supposed to be down there, but he couldn't go. But Dave was down there. Sounded like all the new rules and the issues that we had, you know, any changes we made, didn't have any issues. We do run our first events of the year since it is 2024, January 1st, we run our 2024 rules. We don't.
So just to clarify, the 2024 rules start in 2024.
In 2024, yeah.
Gotcha.
They don't start in February.
So
or
when do the
April.
2023 rules end?
I think in December,
Okay.
Maybe it might even be the 31st.
at least in
of December.
IMCA.
Okay. I'm just need some clarification.
It's weird, and that's one of the situations for us as a sanction that we've got into where we've historically released our rules in November around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And when we're racing January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, it's really not a lot of time if there's anything major that we switch for racers to necessarily change things. So anything that we can get out ahead of time, we almost have to anymore. And I think the racers are kind of into our schedule when we release our rules. It seems to me like they kind of anticipate a little bit more than they have if you go back maybe 10 years. And Super Nationals for us is really somewhat of what I call, and most of the chassis builders, I talked to Kyle Brown about this just a couple days ago. For us, it's like the start of the build season is Super Nationals. So if there's anything cool that's coming for the next year or anything like that, Super Nationals is usually where we try to debut some of that stuff. And we do have some cool stuff. We did do the frame, and I think did we talk about the frame?
Yeah, we talked about that.
We talked about the frame in the last podcast. They're still working on the frame. Speedway Motors is, and again, that's something that we anticipate to make it into the hands of the chassis builders sometime mid-2024. So we hope to have a car built on that frame at Super Nationals. We've got some other projects we're working on, too, that we're trying to debut at Super Nationals this year. So there's a lot of cool things going on. There is. Some of it we can talk about, some of it we can't yet. Still top secret. Yeah. But anyhow, so racing has started. We've kicked off our year.
Ryan, you have any stats from Kokopah?
I did pull up the winners. There's a variety of winners. I think so far, if you count the race at Central Arizona last weekend,
Yep.
we've had 11 nights of racing already, 6 different modified winners through 11 nights. That's pretty good.
And that was,
I don't know if there was a modified race at the Winter Nationals that didn't get decided coming out of 4 for the checkered.
Right.
yeah, they were pretty exciting.
Very competitive. Yep. And Baca's name, obviously our defending national champion now. He's been at the top of the ranks already this year.
4 of them. He's won 4 of 11 features.
He's one of the repeat guys. He's got his stuff rolling pretty
Do you
good.
know who's even better than Baca right now through 11 races?
Jeremy Mills,
Cody Williams.
No, not a modified racer.
Oh.
Bo Partain,
No.
Zane DeVilbiss.
Zane DeVille.
How many times did you see him
guessing.
win, Jerry? You had to call a number of his races. Cam Reimers. He's
Oh,
won
that
5.
guy, yeah.
He's won 5 times in 11 nights of racing so
Yeah.
far this year.
And
That's
I
crazy.
even read that, and I didn't. You'd think I'd have remembered that part.
I mean, those are Hall of Fame numbers right there.
Yeah. This year he did not. He kept it in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He
last
did
year was
not
when he
go. He
went
did
through
not
the
go.
billboard.
"Whoa."
Not rearrange the billboards.
Yes, did not go out to decide that it.
Yeah, I sent him a text congratulating him after he won that race, and it might have been the same night, or it was very close to the same night as he was up, blasted through the fence the year prior. I was like, it's probably a little bit better night for you.
better trip home.
He's like, yeah.
Brad had to
Hanging from his
cam-proof
seatbelts
the
upside
billboards.
You had to
Yeah.
what? Hand-proof them?
Cam.
Oh, cam-proof
Cam
'em.
proof. So we've had some races at you just said Central Arizona again, and now we've got the Arizona Mod Tour.
Yeah, the
Yep.
Arizona tour.
Gonna
Casa Grande, Mojave Valley, Kokopah.
continue our Arizona racing here, and then from there, we get into outside Arizona racing. 30th annual.
And I can't believe it's
anniversary for
been
the
30
Icebreaker.
years.
30 years.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Are you going?
I am going. I have my flights booked and my hotel booked to go to the Icebreaker. So yes, I will be there. And I'll probably leave here in a t-shirt, and it'll be 30.
Oh, yeah, it'd be cold.
And I'll get off on a plane in Texas, and I'll drive to Abilene and put a coat on. Mm-hmm. It's so weird. We've talked about this before. 55 or whatever it is down there, just to me feels like
It
zero.
doesn't feel the same.
It
But
just doesn't.
you know
It's a
what's
different cold down there.
Yeah.
You know what's good about
it's
that?
such a fun-
It keeps the snakes.
It does.
Yeah, the snakes don't come get you.
No.
The rattlers.
The reptiles stay in their dens. But yeah, I talked to Rob. I think information on the Icebreaker. He's released some of that 1,000 to win modifieds. I think it's 750 to win stock cars.
Yeah, both features are core. They're qualifiers for the All Stars and divisions.
Yep. And then the very next week, the 23rd and the 24th, the Icebreaker is the 16th and the 17th of February. And then the 23rd and the 24th, the very next week, we got KSP opening up, which is pretty much historically how the schedule goes in Texas for us.
Yep.
And I will be 51 years old at Abilene and 52 years old when KSP races. My birthday's right between the two of them. That's also how I remember when the Icebreaker is. It's usually right around my birthday and around the Daytona 500.
So how old were you
It's usually after
during the first Icebreaker?
During the first 30 years ago.
You were just barely legal drinking age.
Yes.
Isn't that weird? Seems weird to me.
Well, for some reason, I think I was down there for the first Icebreaker.
I know.
Tommy had it.
You probably were, and I know I was there for the first Icebreaker that Rob ran, and I think Bill said Rob has been running the Icebreaker for 20. I think this is his 23rd year.
Oh, yeah, but Jim was also around when Moses parted the seas too.
He was.
So.
Exactly, and he's tough.
It's crazy to think that something celebrating a 30th anniversary is just dating back to the mid-'90s. That just doesn't.
I know.
It doesn't feel
right.
that long ago.
Yeah, there was a meme on Facebook that was like, from 1917 to this was this many years.
Oh, it was closer than what
we
were to the 70s.
It's closer than what you think.
Crazy. Crazy. Last week, Peyton Taylor stopped by the office. He was in town he was doing a chassis seminar.
We got to get him on a podcast.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, it's too bad you guys were all, Nate was gone.
Me and Nate were gone. Jim was still in recovery.
Yeah, Jim was still at the hospital.
Ryan was in Florida.
Yeah, Ryan was in his Speedo.
No, he wasn't.
I was the only one here. What the hell?
When did he stop?
He stopped. It was like last Thursday, Wednesday.
I
Thursday.
was home, staying out of the weather.
He was
packing the.
Yeah.
He was doing the tour. He came up. He said he'd been to Fast Shafts and Bob Harris's place. He's stopping and seeing everybody on his way through. He stopped here, and then he was going to. I think he was going to watch. He said he was going to watch that Chili Bowl that night somewhere.
Yeah, he was going. Yeah, they watched.
I bet when he pulled into the office, there wasn't one lick of snow in the driveway in the office.
I don't think it had snowed yet. I think you're right. I think it was the very.
Well, I was thinking you had it done.
What I probably
with the
did.
Tractors and.
Oh yeah. It's like
I will say I was impressed.
time.
I was impressed that the snow has been pushed from the parking lot here to Shellsburg. I mean, there's.
Well, sure, we got to keep it clear so it can drain, so it doesn't make a mess of our parking lot.
Like a swamp.
It does if they don't push it out far enough. But if they don't push it out, I don't complain that much. I just do it myself. It gives me something to do in the evening.
You just want to play with the tractor.
Yeah, you just want to.
Yes.
Tractor or skid loader?
Yes. So back to
Transformer.
Peyton Taylor was here.
It turns 70. He goes from a.
Gets us back to the second annual Clash on the Coast, February 25th.
It would be the first annual.
No, it's the second annual. It goes from
for
inaugural
second.
to second
I
annual.
always get
There is no
confused
first
me.
annual.
February 25th through March 2nd.
I'm excited.
And
You going down for that?
Yep.
To the first, second annual?
Dave's going down for that too.
Third running of.
Dave's going down there. Jim's going to go down to Casa Grande, I think, aren't you, Jim?
Yeah.
You're
No,
safe to
Jim-
fly. He's been cleared to fly.
Jim's gonna. I thought Jim was gonna be. I thought Jim was gonna be flagging the
That was last year.
Clash in the Coast.
That was last year.
No,
last year.
I've been told by certain sources that you we have you a new set of flags. His junior starter
He
set.
carries them with him everywhere he goes. They're in his
Yeah,
car.
yeah, I do.
It's a requirement.
Yeah,
But yeah,
even-
so the
even-
Clash on the Coast, and Peyton had like some crazy amount of cars entered already, over 75
So there's
mods.
52 stock cars and like 79.
Yeah.
Right close to 80 mods.
Jerry, are you an administrator on that?
I was
My
just
Race
going to
Pass?
ask that.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
And you haven't got kicked off of it yet?
not yet.
Not yet.
You should see his MRP. You open it up, and it's just like a laundry list of shit. And I'm like, why do you do that?
Shoot.
It's easy.
Oh well, yeah. So the Clash on the Coast. That sounds, again, everything sounds like it's lining up. And by the time we get to March, our racing starts getting pretty serious.
Yeah.
We're pretty slow in January and February, generally speaking, around here.
Well, we got trade show coming up.
Yeah, but we do. We definitely fill a lot of our time with trade shows. I know Carson is going to go up to the B&B chassis open house on February 3rd.
Yep. Ryan's going to go to
and
Luxembourg.
Jim and Ryan are going over to Luxembourg race show in Green Bay.
Yeah, normally I enjoy that show, but the fact that Jim's going too, I'll probably regret this one.
Yeah, I apologize. The hotels were all taken, and he said he was going to have to stay with you, so I hope you don't mind.
Wow, you guys are going to slumber
Better
party?
got a double bed.
Don't worry about that. That ain't happening.
As much as Jim wants it to, I'll have to politely decline.
Times are tough. We try to save money here at IMCA. That's one of the ways. Double up.
The paper, rock, scissors will
times are
come out
tough.
for big little spoon on that.
No, but back to B&B. The B&B chassis I wanted to announce too. It's pretty cool. Paul has stepped up. Paul has been the title sponsor of the All-Star race. What has it been, 3 years now already? This is the fourth year for the stock car All-Star race. Paul's been every step of the way with us with the All-Star Invitational for stock cars at the Super Nationals. Our title sponsor of that, but he's also now the title sponsor of both regions of the IMCA Hobby Stock Division, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's going to allow us to bump our point funds up a little bit too. So there'll be $1,500 a region this year for hobby stocks, and we'll get those announcements made. We'll get the breakdown and stuff like that announced, I imagine, in the next couple of weeks, or February 1st when our next newsletter comes out, our digital version of Inside IMCA. So again, and one other thing too on the All-Star Invitational, Paul and I talked a little bit about it, and Carson had talked to Paul a little bit about it. And, he gives away chassis away. Well, I think it's one of those things that makes that race special.
Yeah.
He does give a powder-coated chassis, frame, cage, all powder-coated.
Yeah, it's sitting right. You literally can go put it in your trailer. You could start putting it together and race it on Friday.
Yeah, he hauls it to the infield. They've hauled it to the infield the last few years during the race. After the race is over, he's done this, and he's done this anyhow, but after the race is over, the winner gets that chassis. Mm-hmm. If the winner races,
does he have to run it the following season?
He hasn't had to, and I.
So we don't penalize him if he doesn't run the giveaway chassis the following season.
We don't, and the interesting thing that Paul does, if you decide you don't want the chassis, he actually sells it, and then gives the money that the chassis brings to the winner.
Yeah, there's a value that they place on that car.
Yeah, this year he's like, hey, instead of me, if the racer don't want it, is not going to, is the racer's not going to use it, can we just auction it off at the event? So I think, if you look at it from his standpoint, you bring the car down here, you haul it down here, you take it out there in the infield, and the guy doesn't want it, he has to turn around, load it back up, haul it back home, and go through all the motions. So I think I think it's actually a pretty good idea. We're going to sell that. If the racer doesn't want it, this is obviously the All-Star races on Friday night for stock cars. If he doesn't want it, on Saturday, we're going to sell it with the engines in the auction.
At the auction.
Cool.
At the end of Saturday
but
night.
But whoever won that race still gets that money.
Correct. Yeah, the proceeds of the sale of that chassis, if that's what happens, the proceeds.
And you don't have to run it the following year to get the money or the chassis.
Nope, the proceeds will go directly to the racer who won the All-Star Invitational the night prior. So, but the racer who wins it is the one that controls whether the auction even happens.
Yeah, because they may be like, I want that car.
But so we don't take any chips away from you if you don't run that car the following year.
Nope. We don't. Okay. We don't pay our point funds in poker chips or anything like that. You don't have to attend our banquet or anything like that to be eligible for some of this stuff. But I think it's a good idea to auction it if the racer decides he's not going to use it. Puts a little bit of pressure on the racer to make a decision. I don't think that's a bad thing. But at the same time, a brand new B&B chassis is pretty awesome.
I mean, it's like we could get Monty Hall there. It could be like,
maybe I'll buy
it.
Deal.
Do you want the chassis or what's behind door number 2?
I can do that, right? Can I buy it?
Absolutely.
Put it up there with the other new stock car.
Roger Hayden's got a sprint car.
I might buy it. I've always wanted to buy an engine at the auction, and I felt like we shouldn't do that. And I had that opinion, generally speaking, because I've been in a lot of auctions, involved in a lot of the auctions of engines at the Super Nationals pretty much since '97. I've been involved in it. And there's times where I'm like, oh, I want to buy that engine myself, because from one aspect, I'm kind of curious what it is. Mm-hmm. And then we always got into, too, in situations where people say that, that engine's illegal. It passed tech, but it's illegal. So to a certain extent, I'm like, well, if IMCA actually bought it out of the auction, we tear it apart and actually see if there's any truth to that. We've had people buy the engines at the auctions to tear them apart. I think there's a lot of people that have done that. Some have said that they're illegal, some have said that they're not, but we've never been able to actually validate that. I think that's always kind of an interesting aspect of it. Like the crates are all cheated that win, that
it's illegal. Well, what's wrong with it? Well, it's not legal.
And here's
why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And here's the situation that changed my mind on buying engines at the auction or anything out of the auction at the Super Nationals is when Ricky Thornton won for the second time, I believe, the Super Nationals. I think it was the second year he had won it. His 604 crate engine went for like $3,100 or $3,200 at the auction. And after it had sold, I said to J.J. Wise, who was the auctioneer at the time, I was like, how much did that sell for? Did I hear that right? And he's like, yeah, $3,200.
I think it was less than that. I think it was like 28.
It was like dirt cheap. And I'm like, okay. That's when I made the decision myself internally. I'm like, I'm never letting that happen again. We're not going to sell an engine for peanuts, essentially, which is what I thought that engine brought in relation to what it was valued at or worth. So, but then we had this year's auction, which, I mean, the hobby stock engine at the Super Nationals this year sold for $10,000. And I about fell off the stage. I'm like, how in the hell does this stuff happen?
Yeah, when it came to the auction, the Mike Smith's engine, it was.
It's crazy, So if you come to Super Nationals this year, you could actually buy the winner's stock car engine,
and you could buy
a chassis.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're like 2/3 of a way of being race ready.
Exactly.
You have a car and an engine.
That's right.
Correct. Cool.
And
but anyhow,
spend some time on Manufacturer's Row, you can get the rest of the shit.
Got to think again, Paul.
Or sometimes if you go out back, or if you go on the outside of turn 2, you could get most of the stuff you need anyway.
Yep.
Bumpers, doors, body panels.
Tires, wheels.
Yeah.
Correct. Mud covers. Now we fix that rule. Not a lot of mud covers left at Super Nationals anymore.
You get some once in a while.
Occasionally, not very many though.
Yeah.
No, not like the old days where it was like every race you pick 6 of them up off the racetrack.
Right. Looked like a Frisbee toss in the stands.
We just put car numbers on them. And
if you get this, you win a free T-shirt.
Threw them to kids in the stands. There you go. Anyhow.
But that was another one of the rules that we wrecked racing with when we made them bolt mud plugs on instead of letting them fly off.
Correct.
A lot of the hardcore race fans love to have mud covers come at them while they're sitting in the stands.
I've still got that picture of Nick Brooklander with his gash.
Nick Brooklander.
Exactly.
We've got a permanent scar because of one.
So again, got to thank Paul Berger at B&B Chassis for all he's doing for IMCA Racing.
I'm actually updating.
And if you're in his area, one of his customers, February 3rd, is his open house. I told him I would help promote his open house. And then obviously February 3rd, the same day in Wisconsin, the Luxembourg Racing Show where Ryan and Jim are going to be signing autographs.
Wow, you guys
in Luxembourg.
If
you buy a license at one of those 2 events as well, you'll get a
free T-shirt.
Yeah, we do some promotional stuff with some of our Super National stuff.
Don't be presumptive, Jerry.
Well, I thought it was either or, but
no.
Me and Dave are sharing rooms. Super Dave and I are going to have to share a room in Florida. That's fine.
You guys probably got an Airbnb right on the beach.
Yeah, we probably do. We probably do. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know it. That's what I said. I go, God, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have stayed at the shitty hotel I stayed in between the 2 tracks.
Exactly. Things have changed so much.
Yeah.
I remember one icebreaker I went to. The hotels were all booked because there was something going on at the college in town, and I had to stay at like a Motel 6. And everybody's like, "Did
they leave a light on?"
Yeah, I was going to say, did Tom Bodette, was he there personally?
They're like, that place has got fleas. I'm like, well, where else am I going to stay?
Car.
Yeah, car.
Anyhow, things have changed quite a bit. I've never stayed. Well, yeah, I can't say that. I've stayed in Airbnb once. My wife's into booking. She knows how to book that. I don't even know how to book an Airbnb.
I tell you what,
I'm a hotel guy. I'm like a taxi guy too. Taxi, Uber. What? It's too much. It's.
I will say, when it comes to Uber or taxi, I will take a taxi.
Really?
Anymore. Yeah.
Oh,
Ubers are an adventure, though.
I will tell you,
Yeah, but you
DoorDash was to my advantage the other day. I got like 8 pizzas. DoorDash guy comes up and he gives me pizzas. I said, these aren't mine. And he looked at me funny, hands him in the door, shuts the door, and drives off. So
Nice.
I call the pizza place and I go,
I got too many.
hey, this isn't my
Did you order anything?
No. That's like when,
I thought
when
maybe
he
they brought
came
too
to the
many.
door, I was like, what are you doing? And so I called and they said, we'll just remake the order. Just keep those. You got free pizzas. I'm like, got free pizza for a month.
Yeah, freeze it.
Now we give some to the neighbors. They had a party going on. It wasn't their pizza, but
I don't have any DoorDash stories. My daughter
that's
ordered.
that's fascinating, Jerry.
I know it's as fascinating as your heart attack.
Did you
My
eat
daughter
the
orders
pizza?
DoorDash.
Yeah, I did eat the pizza.
All 8 of them?
No, I told you.
Where was it from, Jerry?
It was actually from Papa John's, and I'm not a big fan of their pizza.
You know, you would have been better off not
Is that the
opening
take
the
and
door.
bake one?
What's that?
That's Papa. Is
That's
that
Papa Murphy's.
Murphy's is take and bake. John's is cooked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manning.
Oh, okay.
What one does Shaq have?
Hell if
Which
I
one of
know.
the pizza
No,
places?
Shaq
Does he have a
That's Sh-
pizza place?
Yeah, Shaq. I thought Shaq owned a bunch of one of them places.
I think he maybe owns something with somebody, but
Because don't
Shaquille
they have
O'Neal
that-
and Papa John's. Papa
Oh, yeah,
John's have
'cause he-
teamed up to
yeah.
launch an extra large Shaq-a-roni pizza.
so one of the pizzas we got was a shakaroni because it's a
There
big,
you
it's a
go.
big picture of
Well,
it
your
right on the
story
box.
just keeps getting better, Jerry. I'm glad we could add to it for you.
We could talk all day about
Kinda
this.
sounds
I
good,
could talk
actually.
all day about my.
about your
Grubhub.
Can you
about
bring
your
one of those next time?
Shaq-a-roni.
What's that? Yeah, I can bring. Now I'll just stop at Casey's and get one.
Good point.
Exactly.
Speaking of Casey's, we
Yeah.
about got our. I think they're finalizing their 2024 Super Nationals program with
Yep.
us. So sounds like Casey's going to be back on board as a presenting sponsor of the Super Nationals. Pretty excited about that.
Hey, they're here for good.
Fueled by
Speedway.
Casey's.
Speedway, Speedway has been, with us for so long. They're still a title sponsor of the Super Nationals, title sponsor of the weekly racing.
Since about 1942, I believe.
Casey's coming back. Napa's back on board.
Yeah.
A lot of cool things happening.
Did
with
you
Super
ink that
Nationals
deal
stuff,
back
but
in 42, Jim?
Does that mean if Napa's back, does that mean Juergens is back?
Unfortunately.
So you're gonna ride the chalk machine?
Yeah. Speaking of Juergens, he made the documentary on that chalk
Oh,
machine.
yeah.
He's in one of the episodes of the documentary that we're doing for the Super Nationals, which again is something we want to talk about. We're working on releasing that. I think that Jeremy's got most all the edits done. There's going to be 4 episodes, I believe. If I'm wrong, Nate, tell me. 4 episodes. I've watched all 4 of them. I just think they're cool.
Fantastic.
They're so cool. It's just very, very well done. And it tells a lot of cool stories. Gets the driver perspective on a lot of stuff, which I always think is the coolest thing about the Super Nationals is just all the different perspectives that the racers have.
Speaking of that, I got asked in Arizona 3 times if Boone Track 2 is still happening.
Sure it is.
Why wouldn't it be?
And I told him, I says, I can't release any information. I just know what I know.
Do people really think we were joking?
I don't know.
Well, we wouldn't kid about shit like that.
No.
No. Then they asked if Ryan and I were still friends, and I
Wait till
said,
the
yeah.
wait till the snow thaws over there.
The snow thaws. I mean melts.
Whatever. You know what I meant.
Will you be a?
I
will
make
you
up
be
my
a-
own
will you
words,
be-
you know
will-
this.
Will you be a ribbing at the?
A ribbon.
I've never said I was smart. I don't have a reputation for being that smart.
You know,
Yes, when
Boone
the
2
snow
is-
thaws
I would say Boone 2 has a better chance of happening than Pennsboro.
in the
That's
ground,
just
that's
just my statement right there.
The ground isn't so wet. We're gonna start cutting a racetrack over there. Is that bad?
I don't know. Ain't my deal.
Just think about how much bigger we could make that race if we had 2 tracks. It would be
Not gonna move my camper though, are you?
No, your camper will be okay because it'll be right in the middle.
probably race around it.
Race around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's okay.
is if Ryan's a camper's a rocket, don't come a knocking.
Don't even want to go there.
That's why everybody's knocking.
'Cause it's
Well, I
not a
said
Because it's not a
rocket.
rocket.
So
Hello?
what else? What else?
Hey, that
What else
is
can I
a
talk
nice looking shirt you have on, Brett.
about? It is. I like this Hoosier shirt. This is Speaking of Super Nationals, this is actually
It's a legendary Indy race.
this is actually a Chili Bowl shirt.
Yeah.
I did not go this year. I've been to the Chili Bowl a couple of times. It's been quite a few years since I went to the Chili Bowl. I stayed home. I didn't go to Kokopah. I didn't go to the Chili Bowl. But I did get a shirt.
How'd you get a shirt?
This shirt was sold exclusively
Well, I heard it might have been sold at a couple vending trailers. Or
initially,
is there any truth to
but
that?
this shirt was exclusively sold by Mel Hambleton Ford, Phil Nightingale, and
Nick
Nick and his guys there.
designed
know?
and
Yeah. it's
so
the-
you couldn't buy that just at any random
you can't.
souvenir trailer.
You couldn't.
Wow. So only
got one.
at the Mel Hambleton Ford souvenir trailer was that shirt available.
Correct. And it's a
That's
good looking shirt. I think this is kind of interesting from an event standpoint. Did you know that if you're a vendor at the Chili Bowl and selling Chili Bowl shirts, all of that stuff has to be pre-approved before you can sell it?
I think that's a lot of that stuff anymore.
I think some of that stuff is
I think
interesting.
that, like the Knoxville Nationals, I think is the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, at the Super Nationals, we don't allow any event shirts. IMCA sells them all. Mm-hmm. The event sells the event shirts. I mean, the racers can sell whatever shirts that they want to, and we let
We encourage it.
Yeah, we don't charge the racers. Some events, the racers get charged to sell their own
Yeah, they get
shirts at the
charged a
event.
vendor fee or
Yeah, they
what, a
get vendor
percentage.
fees. We don't do anything at the Super
I don't
Nationals.
even know how you track that anyway.
Clover.
I think you drive by, and if they're selling them, it's like, hey, you owe us $100. But why? Why? I mean, we let the racers sell. The racers who win the Super Nationals can put, they're obviously Tim Ward can have on his shirt next year if he attends and if he's racing and if he's selling apparel, he could put, 2023 Super Nationals champion on his shirt, stuff like that. But we don't let anybody sell logoed or current event shirts at the Super Nationals. But some other events do, and they tightly monitor it. I think it's interesting. It's interesting to me.
It's like you can't call it the Super Bowl. That's what are they?
The Pro Football Championship.
Yeah.
ESPN can't even call it that.
No.
I mean, you can't call the Super Bowl.
So like
the
for the
Super
last
Bowl.
the
For
last 5
advertising
or 6
purposes.
years, it's the only person that can say Super Bowl is NFL,
NFL.
and the
Probably their
network,
broadcast partner.
the broadcast partner.
If you watch,
I
like,
didn't even know that.
the ticker on the bottom of ESPN, it'll talk about Pro Football Championship, or if you see any marketing
Yeah,
from like a
it's
third
interesting.
party, they cannot use the term Super Bowl.
Yeah, they shut down all the Super Bowl parties out in Vegas, made them change the name.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It just goes to show you the value of the brand.
So
obviously.
if you own a name and have it trademarked, it's up to you to decide who can use it and how.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
We have a few of those.
So if we had a name trademarked Sport Mod, let's say,
Yeah.
nobody could use it without our permission.
Technically, yeah.
I've got a file
Wow.
of cease and desist letters on my computer. if you'd like me to send you one, Jim.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we can go down this path if you guys want to. The cease and desists on saying IMCA versus IMCA and IMCA at sign and some of the weird things that people try to get away with. For us as an association, we do our very best to make sure that if people are putting IMCA on stuff, it is a sanctioned event. Because I think the racers at least want to know. Nobody wants to see that it's an IMCA race and then show up and it's not.
Well, I get a lot of calls.
The rules are different. Yeah.
Throughout the course of the year, they'll say, well, this track doesn't normally race IMCA, but they're advertising this special is sanctioned. I want to go. I'm 4 hours away. Will I get points? And
Yep.
you don't want to lead the drivers astray.
Will I have
Correct.
insurance? No, you won't have insurance.
I think it's weird because some people think that us enforcing our trade names or anybody enforcing trade names is a bad thing. I think it actually is a good thing from that standpoint. Is the people who are supporting it or want to make, at least in our case, want to drive 4 hours to race, know what they're going to, and not going to show up to something that, has got the completely wrong cars.
Cheap
racing in it.
imitation.
I mean,
Right.
I think you got to. I think the transparency of it.
Yeah.
They can say, okay, yes, this is a sanctioned event.
Yeah.
You're, and then somebody says, I mean, it used to always be in the past IMCA type rules.
Right.
Well, what are the type?
Technically, they
rules?
can't
Yeah.
even say that. We
Yeah.
could cease
But
and
they-
desist
yeah,
that if we
exactly.
wanted to. We don't. I mean, we do, and it just depends on the circumstances. We try our best to make sure that racers know. And it's not, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Super Bowl is a kind of a good example. I'm sure that enforcing that, they probably pissed off a bunch of people. But at the same time, I mean, it's in the best interest of the Super Bowl to control their event.
Control who uses and how it's marketed.
Correct. Very much so. And I don't think IMCA is any different. Or Sport Mod. That's a trade. Sport Mod is a registered trade name of the International Motor Contest Association. I know this because I'm the person that registered it. So technically, you can't use the word Sport Mod or Sport Modifieds or Sports Mods or any confusingly similar mark without our endorsement of it, or else we can shut it down.
Sport.
It's kind of fun, yeah.
Sport modified.
I
would always cringe. I'd work with
sports mod. The sports mod thing just gets.
How long does it
put
take
an S.
Facebook to generally shut down a page
bonkers.
using
Facebook's pretty quick.
20 minutes or so?
I can get a Facebook page shut down with a trade name violation in about 3 minutes. It's pretty fast.
Maybe we ought to do it. Maybe we ought to do it right now, just to show people how quick it is.
So if you went out and made the IMCA Sports Modifieds Facebook page for your Sports Modifieds tour, it wouldn't be very difficult for me to enforce our trademark and shut it down. Facebook's got a pretty clean way of doing it. It really do. It's very simple. If you have a certificate in your trade name information, you email it to them and boom, it's like goes away like
vanished. Never happened.
Like a bad habit.
And it's like, John,
it'd be like selling that shirt in a different trailer at Chili Bowl. Never happened.
Yeah, exactly. But anyhow, I don't know how we got on this subject. Nate just brought it up behind the scenes. The videos as well is definitely getting to be a bigger and bigger issue for any racetrack that's streaming, any event that's streaming. And our position, generally speaking, is we aren't the event promoter. We sanction a lot of events, and we aren't the event promoter at a lot of the shows that are being streamed. But the event promoter has control as to whether or not they're going to endorse people sitting in their grandstands and filming it with their phone and then putting it on a YouTube page, which essentially is for profit if it's done correctly, And the Super Nationals, back to that, the Super Nationals is probably the best example from our standpoint that if you're filming the A feature, the big dances of the Super Nationals and putting it on a YouTube page and we catch it, we're going to shut it off. And YouTube's got a pretty, because it's a trademark violation, a video rights violation, But you can put it on your own first. A lot of people put videos on YouTube page for storage reasons. I've learned some of this stuff, They can't keep it on their phone. They'll film a whole race.
So put it on there because it's there forever.
If you put it on YouTube, you can store it for free, essentially.
Yeah.
However, you can't broadcast it on a public
to the
page.
masses.
Share it make it public. You can make it private, which we ask people to do. If you've got the big dance, for example, or something like that from the Super Nationals, we will ask people to turn it to private so it's not a publicly distributed video.
Oh, you know what I think we should talk
People
about?
get pissed too when you do that too. They're like, "Hey, you can't tell us that." I'm like, no, this is what I usually tell them.
You can't tell me what I can and cannot do.
This is the comparison I draw. So Patrick Mahomes, pretty popular quarterback in the NFL with a pretty popular team.
Or Brock Purdy.
And if he's in the Super Bowl,
Isn't Taylor Swift on
right?
that team?
Taylor Swift is on that
She's
team.
on that team.
Yeah.
She's like the 12th player, I think. So right, Jim? He's a big Chiefs fan.
The 13th player.
Jim,
Go Ravens.
Jim bought the Taylor Swift album as soon as she started dating Kelsey. Didn't you, Jim?
Now, he had Taylor Swift before.
Oh, that's right. He got her before.
Yeah.
I'm a Swiftie.
Yeah,
do you
he's been
suppose
he's
gave-
been- he's been a Swiftie since day one.
What do you suppose gave him that heart attack last month?
If Mahomes is playing in the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
And if you happen to be married to him, his wife cannot sit up in the stands and film the entire game, the Super Bowl, and put it on her YouTube page. She can't do it. You know why? Because the NFL's not going to let it happen. And racing is no different.
With the expressed, what is it?
Just because
Express written consent
just
of the
because you're
National Football
competing
League.
in an event doesn't mean that you are the event. You have rights to the event. That to on a YouTube status or from a video
The
standpoint.
ticket that you've got gives you the opportunity to watch the event live.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an issue that it seems to be like something that pops up quite a bit. More and more popular streaming gets in YouTube and stuff like that. But anyhow, again, I don't know how we got on that subject either.
Remind me
When are
after
we going to
this.
release that documentary?
That's how we got started on it.
And when are we going to do that, Nate? Next week or two?
Uh-oh.
Soon.
Soon.
They're 4 fantastic episodes. They're about 15-minute episodes.
Yeah, we got to see that. We watched the first one.
All on a little bit different subjects. So Jeremy Cross, who's done the documentary, did a fantastic job. It's really, really good. I could
those
go
Dirt
back.
Collective guys do awesome
It's
work.
only 15 minutes each episode, but I could literally go back and watch them over and over and over again. They're really cool. Excellent job.
You know what video? We posted a video on our Facebook
I figured you were going to
yesterday.
bring this up, Jim.
I love that deal. Did you see that, Brett?
Jim's the
we
king of TikTok.
No, this was on Facebook.
Well, this is unbelievable right here.
Good luck, everybody else.
I can watch this.
Good luck, everybody.
Every damn time.
Good luck, everybody. I know. You
Good
just
luck,
watch
everybody.
it over and over and over again.
So I literally,
I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
the next night, that was night 1 of Winter Nationals. So night 2, that she is at the drivers
I
meeting.
need to cut across 8
And
lanes.
that
Nine?
she's literally
I
got a
turn
group
now.
of people
Good
around
luck,
her,
everybody
and they're like,
else.
the one person says whatever, and the one person goes, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" Yeah. Do you drive that sport compact that they made the TikTok about? And she goes, "Yeah, I'm famous. I'm awesome."
She was proud of that.
It had I don't know how many thousands of views.
That's the best. That's a Garrett deal,
That
right?
is good.
Yeah, Garrett, G-Wagon.
Oh
does
my
those.
God, that's the best.
Go across 8 lanes of traffic.
I turned now.
Garrett
Good
put
luck,
that together
everybody.
for us. Yeah.
Oh, Garrett.
But the video I think you were talking about, Jim, was a sprint car race, wasn't it? The Iowa State Fairgrounds.
We released the Race Saver rules, but we tagged it to a video of the 1963 IMCA sprint car races at the Iowa State Fair.
Oh, I've watched it. That's a good. I mean, I've seen that video.
That's. I mean, you got the guys out there, no roll cages. They wearing T-shirts. You know what I mean?
On knobby tires with big rooster tails.
Oh, they show one guy flipping and getting hit and no serious injury, but he's slumped over the car, hanging out.
Yeah. Now, you watch
boy.
some of those. You watch some of them old videos, and it's like, how in the, for
believe
example, here's an example.
That was one of Nate's first videos. I
Yeah.
think he did that in '63, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think you were 57 when they filmed it, Jim. But you think about it, you watch how far the safety's coming and no cages and stuff like that video. And then you see, again, we talk about your shirt, guy has a helmet come off.
Yeah.
With
comes out of the car.
yeah, I mean, last
that
year,
happen?
you wonder how that all happens. It's crazy. You know what I want to talk about?
Things that make you go,
I want to talk about springs and carburetors.
You want to talk about springs and carburetors?
I think we should talk about springs and
Dave
carburetors.
wanted me to mention it, talk a little bit about rules. We added, there's some confusion. Dave starts getting a lot of questions depending on how the rules are worded. There's a little confusion on the 4412s or the 4412 SA, which is, I think, shiny aluminum is what SA stands for, believe it or not.
What, sparkles?
Yes, so you can use the 40 in the divisions that are allowing the 500 CFM Holley carb, the 4412. You can use the 4412. They make it in like a zinc plating. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they call it. And then they have the SA, the shiny aluminum. You can use either or. There's a little confusion on that. We added or in our rules to address that, to try to maybe slow down some of the questions or the confusion that it created, how we worded it. The other thing we added to our rules just recently is tapered springs. That too is probably going to be a little bit more of a maybe something that people didn't anticipate, but we have minimum and maximum diameters on our springs, and the capabilities of some of the spring companies, they're able to actually make it to the minimum and to the maximum, so make what is essentially is a tapered or a conical spring. We are not going to allow that. If you have a 4.5 inch diameter spring, it's got to be 4.5 inches top to bottom, or
So
5 inches
from here to here is 4.5 inches. I can't go like.
It's the outside diameter. So, yeah, they can't be pyramid shaped or pointed. Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but they can't be tapered. It's got to be a spring that is the same outside diameter from top to bottom. And we did add that, and we did put no tapered in our rules. Might catch somebody off guard, but I don't think so, because if it is, you've special ordered springs that really aren't even made yet that we're aware of.
Yeah.
We started to have questions like this pop up, and we started asking, why are you asking that question? And those questions lead to rules lots of times, sometimes. So be careful what you ask, because sometimes it leads to a rule. In this particular case, it did. And then the other thing Dave wanted to mention, OEM versus OEM replacement versus aftermarket in our rules. There's definitions. We've defined the three, what OEM is, what OEM replacement is, and what aftermarket is. And it's important for the racers to understand that. You can't take an aftermarket component just because it fits on let's say, a lower control arm that's completely fabricated. Just because it fits on the car and the ball joint's in the right place doesn't mean it's an OEM replacement component by our definitions. So be careful with that. If you're unsure, I always tell racers, if you're unsure, call us, ask us, email us.
Take a picture.
Facebook message. We get so many communications to us about rules, Dave included, Dave, Kirk, anybody who's answering rule questions for us. All their information's on our website, in the rules. If you're not sure, just ask. Don't waste your money buying something that's not legal. That's enough about rules. What else? We burned through a lot of time today.
Where we at, Nate?
56
Holy
minutes.
goodness, we still
right.
got another
Oh,
half
we got
hour.
We still got 4 minutes. New sanctions. We got some new
Yes,
sanctions.
the new
And
sanction
Yeah.
tracks.
I wanted to talk about mod lights anyway, because I don't want to
Yeah.
forget Henry County. We got the
Oh, yeah, the sugar.
we got the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, Sugar Bowl's coming up. That's in, a couple weeks?
Down at Henry County. Right now, that's the only
Not to be confused with the Sugar Bowl bowl game.
That's
already happened.
Which was boring.
That's already happened.
Wasn't it boring?
Yeah,
Wasn't it sure?
Most of the bowl games are boring
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, and we could talk about BCS and that whole that stuff is so
I think they
interesting to
did
me
better.
as well.
This was the best year they've had.
If you're well, unless you're a Florida State fan,
Yeah, that
but
was,
they got it right.
Yeah.
They got it right.
they got it right.
Yeah, I mean, they got it right.
At the end of the day, you
At
can
the end of
whine
the
all you
day-
want if you're a
Right.
Florida State fan, but the BCS, whoever made that decision, must have known what they're talking about. Because the Alabama-Michigan game was actually pretty damn
That
good.
was cool,
And I thought
Yeah.
Michigan was going to get beat.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to get beat. I thought Michigan had a better chance of getting beat by Alabama than they did by
What's
Washington.
crazy
By
is
Washington.
What's crazy is, in the near future, the championship game's a regular season Big Ten game.
yeah,
Would be, yeah.
Yeah, Washington and Michigan.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, well. But anyhow, back to the Sugar Bowl, Henry County. Right now, that is the only sanction for the Mod Light races that are out there, and we're getting more and more every year, more and more tracks every year. Mod Light racing is getting pretty damn serious in IMCA, in my opinion. We've added some sanctions. We added a sanction in western Tennessee at Clay Hill, which is a kind of a little hotbed. It kind of connects the Tennessee
Tennessee Mod Light Association.
Mod Light Association
And the,
with Eddie. A little bit of the sanctions over in Tennessee with some of the stuff that's going on over in Arkansas to the west with Bryce Vowen and some of the sanctions over there.
Arkansas.
Yep, and then we sanctioned Doe Run again, which I think we sanctioned them the first year,
three,
and then
3 years ago, I think.
yeah,
21.
and they got out and then they're back. So we're Mod Light racing sure seems to be getting and continuing to have a little bit of momentum. But I don't want to overlook that race down at it's a higher paying race.
No,
down
that's
at-
that's a big.
it's
It's
like
a big
7,000 to
Yeah.
win or
Right.
whatever the heck it is down there at Henry County. Right now, that's the only sanctioned race. There's been some talks of sanctioning, possibly sanction Bubba or the track the week before, but at this point in time, that's not the case.
Yeah, we don't have the necessary documentation for that.
Correct, and that leads to an important thing. I think it needs to be mentioned. If we're sanctioning events, we have criteria that the racetracks have to meet. Primarily is insurance, and I think we've talked about this before in podcasts. The number one thing a racetrack has to have is adequate insurance, not just on the facility.
And a signed contract in before the race.
Not that too. That's a part of the deal. The not just on the facility, but on the participants. They have to have participant accident insurance.
Yeah.
So if a racetrack does not have that, we will not sanction it. There's no questions asked. If
And
the
that's for
racetrack
the driver's
doesn't,
protection.
correct, it's in the best interest of the racers. And I think Mod lights are just a good example. Again, there's a pretty big club environment, I think, or has been with the mod lights. You got Bryce Vallon and Eddie,
and that's when it was the
Even
dwarf cars, they were clubs. And,
correct.
Talking to Bryce about that,
Madcra here in
Iowa.
the central Iowa with Boone and Marshalltown, the Madcra Club, which I don't think is
it actually still exists.
Yep, you got the Madcra Club. You take all those mod light groups essentially.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they're running them as a club, insurance isn't really something that they think about or put a lot of value in until something bad happens.
Yeah.
And us as a sanction, that's at the forefront of what we do. If you're racing a Mod Light IMCA sanctioned event, the racetrack has participant accident on the Mod Light racers, and we have our participant accident in effect for the Mod Light racers if you've bought your membership. So again, make sure you buy your membership. If you're going to Henry County and you're a Mod Light guy, or if you're going to any of these early races, make sure you buy your membership. It's easy to do. Buy it before the race starts. You can buy it on your phone. It's perfectly fine doing it that way.
And
because if something happens, if you get hurt and you need to access that participant accident coverage, you have to be a member to do it. We don't retroactively go back if you haven't got a membership and you break your leg in an IMCA race or have to get life flighted out of there. All these things have happened in the past. You have to be a member. So get your memberships early. I mean, I just can't stress that stuff enough. We do our best on our end to help give the racers a very important benefit. So they should take advantage of that by making sure you're supporting sanctioned events and making sure you buy your membership. It's all connected. And I didn't want to forget about Henry County. I think some of the Mod Light guys feel like, even sprint car guys a little bit, like we don't talk about them enough. But there's a lot of good things going on in Mod Light racing. Yeah. Sounds like we're going to get a track up
Canada,
up in north of
in Ontario,
north of Buffalo. I think it's
it's
up by Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
Which reminds me, I think Buffalo should have beat the Chiefs. I was so disappointed that the Chiefs won that game.
It's all fixed.
I know Jim's a big. Whatever. Don't.
It's fixed. You think it's
I know
fixed?
Jim's a big Chiefs fan. He gets angry when the Chiefs are getting beat.
I'm
He
going to
walks
go right
away.
here on you. When you want to talk about scripted bullshit calls in football games, Brett, I think you personally witnessed one of the worst ones.
At the Lions-Dallas game? I was on the other end of I was at that game in person with my family when the Lions in the Dallas game when
and there are 14 chances at an extra point.
The 2 or 3 penalties on the extra point. It was happening at the other end of the stadium. I was on the other side. I was in the wrong end zone, to be quite honest. And it was hard from being there to understand what was going on because it was so loud. It's a crazy environment, but when that was happening, it was quite interesting. And after the game was over, I was like, what the hell call did they make exactly? Because you can kind of hear them saying it over the PA.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was kind of an interesting call.
That was the game that Dallas won and Detroit lost, right?
Yeah.
Who's in the NFC Championship game? Oh, Detroit. Dallas didn't make it. Huh.
Yeah,
the irony.
Exactly.
Well, and of course, they didn't want the Packers going to the Super Bowl.
That's all right. The Niners are going to kick the crap out of the Lions, and the Ravens are going to kick the crap out of the Chiefs.
Who do you want to win the Super Bowl?
I want to get that in. Who do I want to win the Super Bowl? I'd like the Niners to win.
I like this for Brock Purdy.
Yeah, because it's got the Iowa connection, the Iowa State connection.
Yeah.
Then
the Lions would be a very popular win, but I don't think they're going to get past the Niners.
Campbell.
I want the NFC
coach you'd
winner
want
to
to play
win it all.
for. He gets screwed in a regular season game and doesn't whine about it.
This is kind of like the Super National we were talking about, like when we were calling the races. Who's going to win this race? Remember we were doing that a little bit when I was,
That is also when you
racing needs more of that stuff. I think. Yeah. Boop.
When he rolls.
Racing needs more of that stuff. I think it's. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm telling you what.
Regan Tafoya.
Is he coming to Super Nationals this year?
Oh, he
comes,
will.
right?
Yeah. When Regan Tafoya announces in Spanish, it's 40 mile an hour faster.
That
the racing
was the
is.
best.
I literally
Loco and Coco. I was like, if we were going to rename an event, that would be it.
I seen him in the pits, and he didn't have his car wasn't done, and I said, "Hey, come up and announce the bees tonight." And he goes, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah." I said,
That's
"Just
the
come
best.
up," and he come up, and he just was like, he said, "Here they come," and I go, Now give it to us in Spanish. And I mean, he was just like, boom. And I was
my
like,
God.
I'm like, this is crazy awesome.
Yeah.
I told Nate, I said, we need to figure out how to get dual channels so you could get it in. You could get the races in Spanish.
Yeah. Virginia Lindsay, who works for us, our head of our points department, she speaks fluent Spanish as well. So maybe at the Super Nationals this year, we could get Virginia.
Virginia
And Regan.
and Regan up there.
Up into there, because I think people would rather listen to them than you at times, Jerry. They say that?
You think?
Well, I still can't believe. Was that your idea to get him in the booth?
Yeah.
You think they're
That
Captain
is a good
Obvious?
idea. Every once in a while, you have good ideas.
I
Jerry.
come up with, sometimes I'll pull an idea out of my hat.
I still
Yeah.
think
Or
at
your
the end
idea
of
out
the
of
day
work.
that was probably Nate's idea, and Jerry's just taking credit for it.
No, Nate had no idea what was happening until I told him.
I don't know, Jerry.
It's great.
It was fun.
Knocked that out of the park with that.
Nate talked to me about it about 2 weeks before the event.
Well, nobody talked to me about it.
Well, that happens a lot, Jerry.
I didn't even
I
know what was going on.
I know.
Hell, I knew Jim had a heart attack while I was standing in your living room, and I didn't tell you.
I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, is this another one of those TikTok things? Is that really in Spanish? And it was.
it was.
God, this is awesome. I don't understand a word he said, but whatever.
And
Sounded cool.
so
Sounds cool.
where I got that
We
from,
can have
Sounded
John
exciting.
Snyder do the color
I was like-
commentary next year with that.
Yeah.
where I got that from was, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago during the draw for the Fast Chefs All-Star race. Regan had made it in, and we'd asked him a question, and he went into, he gave the answer in full-on
Oh,
Spanish.
that's right. I do remember that.
And I thought, man, this would work out sometime. And
It's like when you go to the hotel room and, around here, there's not a lot of Spanish channels. You go to a hotel room in Texas, I'll go to Abilene, I'll switch it through, and it'll be like the Telemundo station or whatever it is.
Telemundo.
And it's all Spanish, and you stop for a second, and I'm just thinking, I have no idea what they're saying, but
she's hot.
she's kind of good looking.
Really, I haven't had that
I think
experience.
come on.
Well, you don't get he's hot. Look at that. Mm.
Yep, exactly. Well, I'm going to watch this station for about 5 minutes.
Yes.
Don't know
Wow.
what she's saying, but whatever.
Wow, twice.
Kind of like our first trip to California and Vegas, Brett.
Oh boy, we've had some good ones. We should write a book, Jim.
I don't know that it'd be on the bestseller
No, it'd
list.
get me divorced probably too.
Oh, I can't wait till your mom sees your hotel bill.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I just
The
thought if
single
you
life.
stopped on that channel for like 2 minutes, you wouldn't get charged.
Oh, no.
It was an accident. Thought there was like a
Free preview.
free
for,
preview.
It was an accident. They had a camera in the room
like
that
a-
actually read the credit card number.
It's like a trailer for a movie. You can watch the trailer, right?
Yeah.
After a while, you just watch nothing but trailers. Like every 2 minutes, I'm watching a different trailer.
Now you just get it on your phone for free.
Oh well, OnlyFans.
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
I heard.
Now, OnlyFans, you got to pay for.
Not all. Some people offer it
How do
for
you know?
free. Because I've been on it. I'm not going to lie. Like you haven't trickled over to OnlyFans
No,
before?
to be honest, that's one that I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Jerry.
Now I'm
You're
dead
so full of shit.
serious.
Oh boy, we went
We've
from
all seen the pictures.
OnlyFans is tame compared to some of the stuff.
I know. I've seen some of the stuff you watch.
we went from calling our races in Spanish to OnlyFans. Off the rails. What else we got? Anything else?
I think we actually
Yeah,
covered
speaking of that
everything
shirt
on the
again,
list.
Phil Nightingale's going to open Hutchison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he
Fairgrounds.
going to do
He
it?
saved it. He saved it from the
Yeah, he saved it from getting
Yeah.
exploded.
Kudos
that
to
one.
him.
I can't believe he did it. I don't know how he did it.
I know you went down to that meeting.
Yeah, I thought there was no way in hell.
Yeah.
Now I know why the guy has such a big car dealership. If he could sell that,
He can
deal,
sell. He
If
knows
he
how to
could sell that,
stuff.
he
yeah.
can sell goddamn Mustangs all day long.
Exactly.
The resurrection of Redwood Falls Speedway's coming.
Yeah, we got some new sanctions. Redwood, Hutchinson, like Jim just mentioned. Wilmot, I think, is going to sanction this year. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Still a little early. Our contracts are trickling in. It's a pretty interesting month, you know.
Schedules are trickling in.
Yep, tracks are starting. You start seeing it on Facebook. Racetracks releasing their schedules. They usually coincide a little bit with the contracts coming into us. Sometimes their schedules
Yeah.
aren't.
And
Sometimes they do
also
that first.
coincide
and
with
then-
about every other track in their area too. But
correct.
Yeah.
Yep. No, but everything looked like
Bloomfield's another one, isn't it?
yeah.
That's
Looks
another-
like we're going to
Yeah.
do some
Going
racing at Bloomfield again. Which for those that don't
That's
know
been
where
a long
Bloomfield,
time ago since we
It has
had
been a while.
sanctions at Bloomfield.
for those that don't know where Bloomfield is at, it's in southern Iowa.
You've been
It
down
is
there
in
before?
it's way
Way down there.
Wilmot is in southern Wisconsin,
Yep.
essentially, or over by Milwaukee.
Yep.
So we've got
yeah.
some Milwaukee racetrack. We've added a southern
Jeff
Iowa
Bodendorfer will like
racetrack.
that.
We've got
Yes, he
Hutchinson
will.
in Kansas.
The Hulk.
We've got a track north of Buffalo. Buffalo still should have beat the Chiefs.
Buffalo.
Ifs and buts were candy and nuts would be Christmas
All the
forever.
time.
And
Jim's
you'd be
gonna
rooting
get
for the
mad.
Cowboys in
Should we
2
make
weeks,
Super Bowl predictions?
3 weeks.
I already made
gonna,
mine.
who's going to make it? You think it's going to be
It's
the Niners
and
and
the Ravens,
the
and,
Ravens?
and the Niners
No.
are going to beat them.
They're
It
gonna
was
get
all, there
revenge
was a picture on there. Somebody's had a
about the
screenshot
logo.
about the
Oh, you shared that.
Is
About
that,
Steve-
and then one of the
preview.
Niners players was getting a tattoo. There was somebody took a picture. Oh, there's a Niners tattoo or Niners player. I can't remember who it was getting a tattoo of the Super Bowl champion trophy on his arm.
Oh, that's like, yeah, you got to be careful doing
Yeah,
that
there was
kind of
also
stuff.
a story of a guy who was a fan of Buffalo saying the Super Bowl champions for this year, and then they lost to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chiefs. So.
That didn't
What
quite
about
work
Kelsey's
out.
other brother being shirtless up there? He got, for the first time, somebody.
I think he's
beside-
more popular than
He's more
his
popular
brother.
than
That was-
Jim's favorite singer, Taylor.
Everybody was looking for Taylor Swift in that video.
You
Anyway.
couldn't see her with Jason up there.
Yeah, no
No.
kidding. He's a not a
That was the
little guy.
best.
He's huge.
That was the best.
Which reminds, does anybody know if Debo Samuel, is he like out? He got hurt in the Niners game.
I don't know.
I don't.
I think the Super Bowl hinges on some of the players like that. You miss some of your best players. I mean, if Dak Prescott got hurt for the Cowboys, their odds might get a little bit
They'd
better
still
to
be
win.
in it.
Make it a little
Correct.
better to win.
If Jerry Jones wasn't the owner, they'd have probably won 4 or
Yeah.
5 Super Bowls in the last 30 years.
Yeah, Belichick's going to be the Cowboys president or the Cowboys coach next year.
Falcons.
Belichick?
Him or
Oh,
Harbaugh.
Falcons.
No,
There was a
'cause
little
the
bit of-
Cowboys are keeping with McCarthy,
McCarthy.
so
Yeah.
so that's a good move for Dallas.
McCarthy
No light at the
They've
end of
had-
that tunnel.
They've
brings
had a
the
lot of good-
Packers down there, and the Packers beat the Cowboys, and he brings
Jordan Love's going to be good.
McCarthy's the
you know
Cowboys
what's an-
coach.
you know
and
what's
the
an
Packers still
interesting
beat 'em.
stat?
What the hell?
An interesting stat.
Jim's
is
pulling out
Green
a
Bay
stat.
Packers have won more playoff games in Dallas
Oh.
Stadium
Then Dallas
than
has.
name other teams they've won more playoff games for than in Dallas Stadium. What's the
Nobody.
name of that? AT&T.
18,
Yeah.
it's Green Bay. And they also
Stadium.
said
They've-
yesterday,
see,
a
Green
fun
Bay.
stadium to
Oh
go
no,
to.
they got more than Dallas does in their home field.
Yep.
what was it? They said
well.
the last time that the Cowboys were in the NFC Championship was like 94 or 93 or something like that. Every NFC team has been to the NFC Championship since then, except for 2 teams.
Detroit.
The Cowboys, no, they're there this year. The Cowboys and the Redskins
Well,
Yeah.
are the only 2 NFC
No,
teams
aren't they
that
the,
have
aren't
not
they the
been-
Commanders or what?
Oh yeah,
are they?
the
Yes.
Commanders. Yeah,
Commandos.
yeah, the Commanders or the Washington football team.
Yeah, the Washington
So
football team.
Washington and Dallas are the only 2 NFC teams that haven't been to the NFC Championship in the last 30 years. It's crazy.
I'm trying
It
to
is.
think
For
who's
28
been to the AFC Championship the last 6.
I still think when you say 30 years, I get back to thinking about the icebreaker.
Say that again.
I said when I start talking about 30 years, I think the icebreaker.
Yeah.
So the last
Time
time the
flies.
Dallas Cowboys were in the NFC Championship game, the icebreaker didn't exist. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because it hadn't happened yet.
crazy.
Because it happened after that. It's a week after the professional.
I mean, the Texans
championship
got
game.
the
Pro
Texans
Football
got
Championship.
farther than the Cowboys did. It's crazy. But anyhow, yeah, we kind of got off the rails again. Did you know our podcast is in the top 25% downloaded podcasts in
All
the United
podcasts
States?
in the world.
Of all the podcasts
in Vinton,
available,
Iowa.
this silly podcast is in the top 25% of all downloaded podcasts that are available.
So the
all you
royalty
hear.
check should start rolling in then.
All
Yeah,
you
yeah.
haters can suck on that. Even though I think
It's
you know,
crazy.
I think our haters are our best customers when it comes
They
to this
definitely
podcast.
listen.
Oh, they listen.
They definitely listen. Somebody tells them, "Did you hear what Brett said?
Yeah, I hear what they said.
He played a cricket sound."
Yeah, they're 6.5 million since 2021.
Oh well, it's all in fun.
Yep.
I'm wearing a Chili Bowl shirt. during the
That you got
IMCA.
at which trailer?
In a
Which
division
trailer was
that-
selling
in a
those?
division that we don't even
I'm just
sanction.
wearing the old wing.
That didn't happen very often. I'm pretty loyal.
I was
to it.
I was kind of when I walked in and you had a Chili Bowl T-shirt.
But
on.
it's a
I was
cool
like-
event.
I was like,
I've
are
had
we
some cool
sanctioning
memories
midgets
to go
now?
to the Chili Bowl. I've been to the Chili Bowl many times. That's a cool race to go to.
It is a great. I mean, it's been a long.
It's not sanctioned. I don't care. It's just cool to go to.
I was at the Chili Bowl one time and run into Scuba Steve.
Yeah, whatever.
Scuba Steve.
That was my younger days.
Is that Scuba
There's
Sam's
there's
dad?
a story here.
It's just a
Oh,
name.
no, there
he
is a
gave
story
me.
here. There
It's
is.
part of the book we're going to write eventually
Oh,
Exactly.
when all the statute of limitations have
what
expired.
Adam Sandler movie was Scuba? Oh, that was Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, Scuba Steve and Scuba Sam.
Well, we're just rambling now. We should probably wrap it up.
Probably should. Probably do one here.
Season 3.
Season 3. How have they let us do 3 seasons so
3 seasons.
Not only is it our third season, this show will put us in the top 10, I believe.
Think so.
I think we'll go up in the ratings
I don't think it was that exciting.
with our wins.
I'm glad
and
we
some of the
don't.
other losses.
I'm glad Brett doesn't pay you to think.
I'm just happy Jim's alive.
Yeah, he made it. He survived it. If you can survive that,
I'd have to work a lot harder without Jim. That's kind of selfish thing to say, but Jim's good for IMCA. Very good for
try.
IMCA.
Is this New Year, new me for you, Jim? You said you were going to
Oh,
be a kinder
absolutely.
person last year.
Kinder, gentler, Jim.
I figured the heart attack would have like softened you up a little bit, but you've been
I mean,
kind of a bitch.
No,
the
no,
last
he's
few
always
weeks.
he's always kind of been soft.
Bill Martin, who does all our PR, Bill Martin writes all our press releases and stuff. He had a heart attack last year. Jim had a heart attack technically
Who's
last
up
year.
next,
and
you or
into this
me?
year. Dave has got some issues with his heart. He's
AFib or
dealing. He's got
something.
AFib or
Yeah.
something weird. He's going to go through some of that. Who's next?
You or
You
me?
don't really work for IMCA, so technically we can't count you.
I'll be 50.
I-
I'll be in the 50 club.
well,
in April. Maybe
just
it'll
by
be-
looking at you three, I would say Jerry's up next.
I'd say
No, I don't know if you know.
He's the youngest of the three.
I
of
will
us,
be
too.
probably the last one. Anything
Yeah, but I
happens
got to go
to.
with overweight, his unhealthy lifestyle, and just general being
Hey,
ugly.
I ran my ass off in a doubleheader last night. Holy jeez.
oh, you're
Oh
repping, aren't
yeah,
you?
but then
Oh,
then
yeah.
you'll go out and sneak cigarettes in while nobody's looking.
No. We had a 6-pack on the way home.
and you know then your three rules of the Winter Nationals, Jerry.
Yes. I didn't do too many lemonades, but I did a lot of the rest.
3 rules.
We'll tell you about the 3 rules.
We'll talk about next podcast.
Yeah.
I've heard it.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. Till next time.
3 and 1. We're all done. Don't forget, there's a lot of great IMCA racing coming up on IMCA TV. Hey, still got that option, that replay pass. Get her
That's right.
purchased up.
I think this weekend, Casa Grande.
Yes. Starts whatever day this airs, they'll be racing.
Yeah.
Unless it's
Abilene, Clash on the Coast.
Passion of the Coast,
All
Abilene.
that stuff's going to be on
all
IMCA
that stuff's
TV.
coming on IMCA TV. So
Ryan signing autographs in Luxembourg.
Henry County's.
yeah, Henry
IMCA
County's
TV.
on it.
All the races we've been talking about.
I'll be there for you to watch.
Yep.
Whether it's snowing or it's 70 at your house. Tune in, watch. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with episode 2 sometime.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks. We're out of here.